with yet another 4-string Rolling Stones cigar box guitar lesson by request. It's Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? We are tuned to what is now become natural key, or natural tuning, open G. This is a low G, a D, another G, and a B. Interestingly enough, this is the identical open tuning for Keith Richards. That's your G chord right there. This is a really cool, funky song. Lots of interesting parts to it. I'm doing mainly the first main riff of the song here. So let's get started. We're going to start out 3rd finger on the 10th fret. We're going to slide backwards. And we're going to do that. It's a little bit tricky. You're going to have to press down real hard. I'm using my 3rd finger. I am using a pick. Wow, it's a red letter day. I hardly ever use a pick on a cigar box guitar. This really kind of brings out the distortion and gives it more volume. So I like to use the pick on this particular one. All right, real slow, 3rd finger, 10th fret. I like to do an upstroke to start it out because I want to emphasize those top strings. You could do a downstroke too, depending on your amp. You may or may not achieve the exact same sound that I'm achieving here. Well, I guess it does sound kind of the same now that you think of it. I've been playing this song so long on a regular 6th string with a pick that I just have to use a pick. So, back to the 10th fret, 3rd finger. As soon as you do that upstroke, you're going to slide backwards. And then you're going to take that 3rd finger off, and you're going to be barring on the 7th fret all the way across, and you're going to do an upstroke. Whoops. Now we're going to do some fancy finger work here. That's how it sounds at the normal speed, so let's slow it way down. Real slow. Even slower. Hopefully you can see that. Now, one thing I'm doing is accenting. So when you hear those strums, they're a little bit louder and more, I don't know, emphasized, I guess, than the other ones. You may not be able to hear that on the recording here. That's really what we're going for, that accent. Super amazingly cool, funky lick. Really, really, really cool. So I'm only using my 1st finger and my 3rd finger. I'm sliding with my 3rd finger barred, which is not the easiest thing to do. Most of the time you're going to be using your 1st finger or your 3rd finger, but not barring necessarily with your 3rd finger. We are sliding full bar chords, so you really have to mash it down. I don't know why, but I like the upstrum on it because it really gets those top strings. Now, notice my pinky at the very end. My 3rd finger is not doing anything. If you've seen any of my lessons, you've seen this before. My 3rd finger sort of goes wherever my pinky goes. It's always been that way since 1978 when I started playing guitar. So it looks like I might be doing something with my 3rd finger, which I'm not. So let me show you this in slow motion. Now you're seeing my fingers flop all over the place. That's just the way my fingers go. That's the actual speed. And if you listen real close to the recording, you can hear how he's emphasizing certain beats. It's like... Those are the accents. All right, so... Now, I like to do this when I'm playing by myself. Doing that with a band sounds awful on this particular song. This kind of keeps me in time. So when I practice this at home, I do this. want to put all those clicks in. It doesn't really sound that good, but it does help you with your timing. And you can also use your fingers if you like. I prefer the pick on this particular one, but you can use your first finger and your thumb and pretend like there's a pick in between them. And that kind of brings the volume down. It kind of brings the brightness down just a bit. And your pick also doesn't get stuck in the strings. I really am not used to using a pick on such a skinny neck. So individual picking like this can be difficult. So you've got your two options there. Fingers or your pick. Notice how much brighter it is with the pick. So that's up to you. All right, so back to the riff, real slow. Sliding backwards, you have to press really hard. I've got my thumb on the back of the neck here. I'm mashing as hard as I can because I'm sliding a 4-string bar chord. You gotta press real hard. The good news is you're only gonna slide for a split second and then you don't have to worry about that. So now I'm on my first finger barring. And I'm doing 2 ups with the strum. So it looks pretty difficult, but it's really not. With a pick, it's much brighter and you can hear all those notes a lot easier if you use a pick. All right. The next part is upstrum. And what I'm doing is using that pinky on the 3rd string. But you got to do a lot of choking. So these two parts together. Notice how I do that upstrum. Start that second riff with upstrum. There's a lot of interesting, kind of detailed ways to do this. All right, let me stop for a second here and show you this. I highly recommend doing a fake downstrum like this. I like to put clicks in when I do this sort of thing, but don't put the clicks on this song. It sounds awful. I mean, it's not right at all. But here's your click. Use your fingers on the guitar like this, or stomp your foot. But I'm more accurate when I use my right hand. My foot, sometimes, especially on this particular song, I might get a little bit offbeat. So anyway, what I'm talking about here is notice those 2 extra little taps. You can do that with your foot if you like. I prefer to do it with my hand for some reason. I don't know why. So we are taking a lot of time on this intro here, right? But it's very interesting and it's very cool, very funky, but it's also very intricate. If you do a little strum like this, it really sounds good. Okay, so one more time with the first part. I'm barring all the way across on all those strings. All those chords. Strumming all the way across, pressing down all the way, all strings. So that part is upstrum. And I'm using my pinky on the 3rd string. So I'm on the 9th fret, 10th, 9th, and the 9th again. So, that's the first lick. Here's the second. Messed that one up. This one is, I'm doing individual notes here, but that's not how we're ultimately going to play it. That's what we should be hearing, but we're going to be bending the entire chord, which is the hardest part of this entire song. At least on this guitar. It's hard to push these all up. I am using medium gauge strings, so light gauge strings would probably bend a lot easier. However, light gauge strings have a real kind of a thin sound, which is why I prefer the medium gauge. Notice how it goes. I'm not doing a very good job of that bend. It is hard to bend a bar chord. Also, this particular neck, sort of getting off subject, but not really, is flat on the bottom. It's not rounded on the bottom. This is one of my very early cigar box guitars, which is how I made them. Well, interestingly enough, that makes that bend really hard. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm pretty sure that's it. All right, from the top. See, that was that bend and I messed it up. You're really supposed to bend the whole chord, but man, it's hard on this guitar. Sort of like that, but almost. Man, that hurts my fingers too. Anyway, so he kind of just does that jam right here. Finally to the second part at 13 minutes into this dang lesson. This is real cool though, real easy. Bar all the way across on the 5th fret. Now you're going to use your pinky or your third finger on the 1st string, 2 frets above your 1st string on the 7th fret. And I'm going to go from the 1st string to the 2nd string. And I'm going to take that pinky off. Then we go to the 2nd string. Then we go back to the 1st. I'm only barring all the way across with the 1st finger and using my pinky, no other fingers in between. So we have that intro and all that, does that 4 times, and then it goes. Well, that's also Can't You Hear Me Knocking? That's the chorus when he sings that. So we're about, I don't know, 8% into the song so far. So again, that part, barring all the way across, 5th fret, pinky on the 1st string, 2 frets up, and we're going to jump to the 2nd string. So that's your chugga-chugga kind of a blues thing right there. Now that part right there is the easiest part because you're playing an open chord. Now, 2nd string, 3rd fret, pulling off to 0. 3rd finger, 4th string, 5th fret. Back to your 4th string. I'm sorry, 3rd string. So y'all are like, man, there's a whole bunch going on this song. Yes, there is. We are 15 minutes and 42 seconds into this video, and we've only gotten about 3/4 of the way through the intro. Good news is the rest of it's one riff. Now the easiest part. We're going to start out open G, then we go up to the 10th fret, which is an F, then we go down to C on the 5th fret, barring all the way across, and back to G. So it's G, 10th fret, 5th fret, open. I think it does it 5 or 6 times. Right there, he jumps the gun on the beat, which is very cool. So the very last riff, he chops that off, and then he immediately goes, I'm sorry. Now we're back to the main riff. It stops right there on that 7th fret. Then it goes into that jazzy improv thing. So let me show you what that is. I didn't show that very well. So let me show you that right here. We're using the 1st finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And we're sliding up 1 fret. I'm only picking those 2 strings, the 3rd and 2nd. Now you can use your 1st and 2nd finger if you like. For some reason, I like my 3rd finger there. So I'm picking the first 2, then I'm sliding. So it's da-dit, da-dit. Now we're going to slide the 2nd and 3rd finger, the 2nd and 3rd string, from the 5th fret to the 6th. So, remember, you're only plucking the 1st or the 2nd and 3rd strings. Then it goes into the jam part, and that's the end of the song. Have fun with that. Be sure and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my website, jagshouse.com, also bluesboyjag.com. Cigar box guitars like this one right here, humbucker 4-string acoustic electric for 20 years. Please subscribe. Wait, I said that, did I? I probably did. I can't remember. I do this every day. We'll see y'all next time.